This is a Kirkendall Barrett presentation, darling.
You can touch it if you want.
Ladies, if you want to meet a man, check your storage closet.
Come on, Kendall. Take off your shirt and go camera shopping at Best Buy.
Good shirtless, not bad shirtless.
Yeah.
Well, it was gratuitous.
Yeah, it was.
I like a good grizzled man sometimes.
A lifetime of Hallmark.
Well, hello, everybody. It is your favorite day of the week. It is time for another episode of A Lifetime of Hallmark, where we talk about your favorite movies on Lifetime, the Hallmark Channel, and other places too, and try to make sense of them. I'm Les Kirkendall Barrett. Hello, Jason Bowers.
Hello, Les Kirkendall Barrett.
And hello, Kurt Fitzpatrick.
Hello, Les Kirkendall Barrett, and hello, Jason Bowers.
Well, it's been a while, gentlemen.
Couple weeks.
It's been a couple of weeks.
We didn't really explain to the audience how we're kind of branching out.
I thought we explained it last time.
No, we didn't really get into the why. We just said that we're doing stuff from other places.
Well, do you want to explain why, either one of you?
I'll take a crack.
Yes.
So it's a combination of things. It stemmed from the fact that I've been very pressed with time with my job and other things in my life, and we all have been, and we have been recording as often. And for me, it's just felt like a slog as of late to always watch a Lifetime or Hallmark movie, especially if it ends up being a bad movie. So I'd requested that maybe we could do some things that are shorter, because we talk about a lot of like random pop culture things. So that's why the last episode we did the pilot for Jennifer Slept Here. But also this coincides with the SAG-AFTRA and the writers' strike, where actors aren't supposed to be out there promoting shows and movies that were done under the contract until a new contract is to be had, and we're all in at least one of those unions. And so this is a way to sort of talk about stuff that's not really in the pop culture lexicon anymore.
And it's interesting because I listen, I am an avid podcast listener, and I also listen to like radio that revolves around pop culture and TV shows. And, I listen to Radio Andy, which talks mostly about Bravo shows. And a lot of the podcasters and like radio shows are complying as well and not promoting.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, because the guests can't come on and promote a show. I guess I wouldn't say that we're promoting Jennifer Slept Here at the show. It's a 40-year-old show. We found it on YouTube.
But if we were to talk about like a current Hallmark or Lifetime movie, we would be promoting.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I guess like we couldn't have someone like our friend Meredith Thomas on the show right now because she can't really. She shouldn't be.
We could have her on. She just wouldn't
work.
be able to talk about her.
She can't
her
talk
work.
about it.
Yeah.
Right.
We could have her on.
Right.
So we're branching out and doing like pop culture things. I could see us. I think at some point I could see us doing like a Hallmark film or a Lifetime film.
Oh yeah. This is not the end of the podcast as people know it. This is just a way for us to sort of take a little side road this summer while things are a little weird in the industry and things are weird with our schedules, and see where it takes us.
And the thing is, like, the podcast, like, a lot of podcasts are kind of doing, because of this, they're doing the same thing and trying new things and just trying to figure out, doing other things since they can't promote or can't. So, so we're on trend right now.
Oh, okay. I feel like we're leading. We're leading the trend.
Yes, we are.
Yeah.
And
we've done this before too.
Yes,
we're ahead of our. We are ahead of our time. We're ahead of our time because we've actually had some pop culture episodes where we just discussed different things going on. And
yeah, we did the Jack A pilot a while ago.
That's right. Yeah.
Right. And And like, I personally, so I can announce now what I've been hedging around for a while.
Oh, yeah.
And this, I can talk about this. So this is
the news.
Yeah, I'm playing the news sounder, Les. Les Kirkendall Barrett has a huge announcement.
So, and this is theater, so I can talk about it because it's a different union.
Yes, true.
So I wrote a show that I've been touring with for the past few years called The Real Black Swan, Confessions of America's First Black Drag Queen. It's literally the story of the first drag queen in the U.S. who was a former slave who became the queen of drag in the late 1800s. And I've been touring with it for a while, and my show actually got picked up here in L.A. By a major theater. It's called the Celebration Theater. It's one of the oldest LGBTQIA theaters in the country. It's an equity theater. And so basically I've leveled up, and they've hired a team and have put a lot of money behind it. And my show is opening on August 31st. Woo!
That is very exciting, and I'm so happy for you. That's a big fucking deal. It really, truly is.
I hope it gets some industry out. I hope somebody comes. I was thinking, who do I know? Because you could get like a Netflix special or something. Why not?
You will absolutely get people in the industry in this town that will see your show that might be able to open some doors for you when it's time.
And that's what I'm hoping. And I'm hoping, since everybody's got time on their hands now.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. Well, that should be good.
Like my friend Byron, he I think he co-wrote a show. No, Byron Lane. I have met Byron Allen though, but Byron Lane co-wrote a show called Tilda Swinton Answers an Ad on Craigslist, and it did a did a huge run here at the Celebration Theater, and ended up doing an off-Broadway run too. I think they even played in the West End in London. He got a lot of play out of that. So there's things waiting for you, Les.
I was thinking. I was realizing, I know people in the industry. I didn't realize it until I started thinking about who I could send to Les's show. Why haven't I called these people before? I think I know someone. I did know someone it was in Netflix. So she's in LA. So I'm definitely going to get her there. I know, and I realized I know like kind of like a high executive. I know an HBO executive who's pretty high up, but she's not coming. And we have a friend, unless she's not coming to anything, unless she's not on the west coast anyway. And if she was, I don't know if we get her out. But we have a mutual friend who's been trying to milk her, trying to get her to give her opportunities for like years.
And she's not budging?
No.
It's like she's like, I'm not buying. So Kurt, that means
she ain't coming. So but the Netflix individual might come.
I was supposed to be in Indiana right now, but because of this, I had to like pull out of the Indianapolis Fringe Festival for good reason. But and I officially did it. I did it in writing. I talked to them. But as of yesterday, I'm still supposed to be there. They didn't change anything.
It says less as well. I will be there. I have my own opening. In fact, I think I open the same time as your show does, on a much lower scale. I'll be at the Indianapolis Fringe Festival. Yeah.
But I'm bummed, Kurt. I was going to warn all the gay bars that you were going to be there.
You can still go.
Okay.
I was going to have the gays out. I was going to have the gays out to lure you in to the Metro.
I'm very flattered that the gays would be so invested in me.
Yes.
Kurt, you should come out to LA to see Leslie's show.
Yes.
Pretty good.
Oh my gosh. By the way, you two, so I know I'm late to the game, but over the past few weeks, I have become obsessed with that show, Only Murders in the Building. Have you two seen that show?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, not there's a new season, which probably only has a couple episodes. I have not seen that, but the other episodes I've seen.
I watched part of season 1. I need to go back and get into it.
Like I'm on season 1. I'm on season 1. Like I'm just finishing season 1 now. And this is how obsessed I've become. I thought the other day, I was like, wouldn't it be cool if Kurt came and visited, Jason threw a party, and someone dropped dead, so we'd have a murder mystery to solve, and then we could switch our podcast to a murder mystery podcast.
That would not be funny, no.
Well,
So
The prospect of somebody
actually dropped
dying at a party that I'm hosting does not sound like a ha-ha situation to me.
well, it wouldn't be someone we knew. It would be like a random.
Even
who showed
worse!
up there.
Even worse!
some rando. It wouldn't be someone you like.
And then it would be like, no, it wouldn't be like, it would be a random.
No.
And then it would be like, you know.
That's harrowing. No.
How they die?
Okay, they wouldn't.
Does their head
They
explode?
wouldn't die
What
in your
happens?
house. They die like out front, like in the street.
I mean, as long as I don't have to deal with it.
Like it wouldn't be. So it wouldn't be in your house. It wouldn't be in your apartment. But it'd be out like on like the street. Like.
But I don't want to be questioned or anything. I want no part of this.
No. It would happen like out on the.
Of course.
I won't reveal your street, but it would happen out on.
No.
Street.
I understand what you're saying, but what I'm saying is if
all your
the
letters.
whole premise of this is we're Kurt's here and we're throwing a party and this person was at the party, we're going to be questioned about this. I don't want to be questioned
Okay, so
about a
obviously
murder
I
of a
get it.
rando.
I'll change it. So they won't make it inside of the building, but it would happen like out front.
No,
But like
no.
Further away
I
from
want
us.
no association to this rando that's going to randomly get murdered on my street. What?
But we can be detectives.
I'm gonna get blamed for
No.
this because this is the first party I've arrived to and somebody's dead.
Yeah. You're not a
It's never
detective,
happened at
though.
other parties.
It doesn't work like in the Hallmark movies, Les. You can't just go snooping through people's shit.
You know, I gotta tell you, and only murders in the building, I loved the snooping on that show. They snuck into people's apartments. All
It's
sorts
good
of
stuff.
snooping.
Thank
Well-
goodness you're watching something of quality.
Well, think it through.
I've thought it through. I'm good.
Does the person getting murdered, do they have a say in this?
No.
Situation.
Well,
No.
well, the thing
That's too
is,
bad.
without revealing spoilers, the murderer. I literally, when we found out who the murderer was in Only Murders in the Building, I literally stood up and applauded because it was crafted so well.
Okay.
Okay. So you've watched season 1 then.
Yes. Yes. So it's a thought. It's a thought.
Okay.
That's good.
I'm glad you
I
like
do
the
this.
show. I want no part of this murder scenario.
But Kurt, you do need to come and visit soon.
I want to.
Have you noticed
Hard for me
we've
to
been
get
sending
away.
you pictures every time we go to the Abbey now? We send you pictures of cake.
Yeah.
I know it's hard for me to. And they're going to remain open, right? Wasn't there some?
Well, they've been
they said it
sold
was up
now.
for sale?
They've been sold.
Okay.
But I
I'll get
think
this
if the
stuff.
people were smart, I hope they're smart enough just to keep it. the way it is.
I suspect that they will, given the sort of name that place has and the amount of alcohol sales they do must justify their existence. Like they're packed
Yeah.
on weekends. They're a big venue. At one point, I don't know if this is still true, but they were one of the largest purchasers of vodka in the world.
Mhm.
So given that, it does seem like it mints money.
Yeah. So I think if they're smart, they'll keep it the way
Yeah.
it is.
But sometimes people will spend billions and billions of dollars on a social media platform and then do everything they can to not reap any of that investment back. That's a diggity
Yeah.
line.
I'm just thinking
Yeah.
about it. Well, I'll definitely come out. While I'm out, I'll probably take some big Hollywood meetings.
Yeah.
Take a meeting with Stephen Canal about our
Is he still alive?
sitcom. I'll be doing with Roxanne Shante.
Mhm.
and some other projects.
Well, speaking of projects, speaking of projects,
My sitcom with Roxanne Shante doesn't get any kind of
well,
response.
that's a project.
I don't know who that is.
Oh,
I don't know who that is. I don't get the reference. I just assumed it was
Roxanne's
someone you guys
Revenge.
knew.
no, there's a song Roxanne by UTFO, and Roxanne Shante came up with Roxanne's Revenge. And there was even a movie about Roxanne Shante's life on Netflix.
I don't know who
She had
Roxanne
life?
Shante is.
All right.
That's what I'm
Was it
saying.
the song Roxanne?
Yeah, but then there was Roxanne's Revenge. All right.
I don't know either of those
Anyway,
references.
we don't know who Roxanne is, but we do know who Angela Blac Chyna White is. Do you have any Blac Chyna news?
Doing a piece of China.
China.
I'm talking China.
The Blac Chyna Report. Here's Kurt Fitzpatrick.
Well, yes, Blac Chyna is around. Okay, so this is from People magazine. Blac Chyna is reflecting on her past cosmetic surgeries. Speaking with Entertainment Tonight in an interview published Wednesday, the 35-year-old said that her procedures didn't represent who she was internally. The star, whose real name is Angela White, also discussed her decision to undo several of her surgeries, including removing her breast implants, having a butt reduction, and dissolving her facial fillers, noting that it was important for her to change her outside self as well as who she was inside because of the things that I am attracting, she said. You have to think about it like this. Whatever we put on the outside is the first thing. I could look at you and make any assumption right until you start speaking to me. So my thing is, before you even start talking to me or give me a chance, I want you to see, okay, this is a well-rounded woman, she told ET. Not only these types of boobs and a big butt and the big lips, it's just like, it put me in this category where that's not really who I am internally. Opening up about why she got the procedure done in the first place, Chyna revealed it was always something to set a trend. Even from my cheek piercings that I had, all the girls went and got that. She said, I used to have super low bangs and all the girls loved that, the tattoos and this and that. And it's like one of those things to where it's like, hey, look at me. Once you get to that, hey, look at me point, it's like, what then? The mom of two also discussed removing one of her tattoos, noting there is no way possible for her to get rid of all her body ink, however. So she says, it's just one specific tattoo I want to remove. I'm getting removed. I'll tell you this, it stings very, 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 very bad, but it's fast, Chyna said. It was definitely something very personal. I felt as though it was attracting the wrong energy on me. So we could keep that. She also mentions her house is clean. She's keeping her house clean.
Well, that's good.
House is calm. She's vocal about this very transformational period. She puts her mindset is workout, sobriety, and the Bible. So she's got that going on. And so that's pretty much it. That's from People magazine. That's just so she's moving up in the journalism world.
I heard tattoo removal hurts like hell.
That's what she said. That's what Kurt quoted her as saying.
Do I have a tattoo? No, I don't.
I don't think you do. I think Jason does.
I don't. No.
You don't?
No.
Okay. Well, I don't either.
I mean, I wouldn't mind getting one, but I would be very mindful about it because it's something that's going to be there forever.
Yeah, right?
Mm-hmm.
I used to volunteer. I used to teach kids swimming, and I was like one of the few instructors who didn't have a tattoo.
And I like ink. I do. And I've seen, being in LA, which I'm sure you being, in New York as well, you see some good work and some good ink, and it is an art, but sometimes people have some janky ones.
Yeah.
And I don't get the trend now of people. I think the arms and the body is fine. I don't get the people putting the tattoo on the face thing.
I don't either, but you do you.
Right. Oh no. If you want to do it,
yeah.
And my thought always when I see someone with a face tattoo, I'm not judging it. I've seen some beautiful ones. My thought is, wow, if you ever want to get rid of that, that's gonna mess you up. Yeah. Because it doesn't sound fun. Yeah.
Well, back in the day, it was hard to get it might be hard to get a 9-to-5 job with like a snake tattoo on your face, but nowadays it's more.
It is. Well, that's the thing is, and that's why I said
protected.
you do you is like, 20 years ago, people would be poo-pooing even having a tattoo on your arm trying to get a job. And now Disney allows tattoos. Disney allows facial hair, which they never used to.
And then there used to be a place in Beverly Hills called Dr. Tatoff.
I have heard of it.
And this guy, his claim to fame was he was a contestant on Big Brother and used his Big Brother fame to start Dr. Tatoff. And then Dr. Tatoff became like super popular.
Smart guy.
We should make a pact.
Go
ahead, Kurt. Sorry.
Oh, no, I have a couple celebrity net worths that I thought you would.
Oh, yes.
Enjoy. We do this sometimes.
Okay.
So here's from the early 90s. Let's start. Oh, did you have a theme song?
I don't have a theme
okay.
song for Celebrity Net Worth, no.
Oh, I just saw you reaching for something. I was like,
no, I'm typing in my show notes.
All right, so let's go. Robin Givens.
Robin
How
Givens,
much?
former. No, we're supposed to guess, right? Formerly married to Mike Tyson, has done a couple of series, but you don't really see her much anymore. I don't know her as endorsing a lot of stuff, so I'm going to say $3.8 million.
I will say $2 million.
Huh. Well, you guys are pretty close. There's actually some sites that are saying 1.
I believe that
But
too.
the consensus, there's one that says 1 to 3, one says 2, but there's a couple that says 1. Like she only has $1 million.
I almost said 2.6. That was my original, and then I changed it to 4.8. But
Well, I believe she's 58. So I believe most Americans at 58 probably don't have $1 million. But I was surprised that that's all she has. She must have really mismanaged some things.
Well, keep in mind when they're talking about a celebrity net worth, they're talking about their assets, and so she owns a home in L.A.
Right.
That alone is $1 million right there.
They're saying she only has $1 million.
Yeah.
They're saying her net worth is, if her net worth is $1 million, that she's got a home, or maybe she doesn't own a home. Maybe she rents a home. I don't know.
And she still works, but she does like smaller scale stuff. She's like, like a lot of.
She was also head of the class with Brian Robbins, who's worth like $150 million. He's the head of Paramount.
Well, yeah,
the guy who played like. he had like a little role.
Brian Robbins went from Paramount to being a TV producer to then he started this like it was like a new media company that he sold for a whole fuck ton of money, and now he's like the head of Viacom. Or is it Paramount or Viacom? I guess he's Paramount.
Paramount.
But he already had money before he was at Paramount.
Yeah. And then there's the other guy from Head of the Class too.
Dan
he's
Schneider.
He's worth a lot also, though.
Yeah, because he produced a bunch of big hit shows.
Yeah.
One of which I was on.
Brian Robbins' net worth is $150 million. Whoa.
I remember he was the hot one back then, too. He was hot.
Robin Givens should have married him.
Right.
I got another one.
I think, didn't she date Brad Pitt before he was Brad Pitt?
Yes, we've talked about it on this podcast, I believe.
Interesting. All right, here's my other one.
Okay.
This is my other one for the early 90s. Pauly Shore. My friend Pauly Shore, who I once hung out with in the Russian-Turkish bathhouse in New York. Okay, so what's Pauly Shore's net worth?
I bet he's like 10 million.
I'm going to say 32 million.
Damn.
What?
Yeah, you're Jason, you're close. He's 30.
Yeah, because
how are you guys getting this right?
Because his mom owned the Comedy Store.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's also real estate. He made real estate investments over the years.
Yeah.
But then so I'm wondering, so his mom owned the Comedy Store, and since she passed away, does he now own it?
I think he might have siblings, but yeah, he probably owns part of that, and even just the real estate on that alone, a venue on Sunset Boulevard in West Hollywood, then if
they own the property?
Probably.
I'm sure they do.
Yeah, because they've been around.
Sure
That play's been around since the 70s when nobody wanted to be on Sunset, so they probably own it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because I was reading that he bought a house. He rented the house for like a ton of money, and then he sold the house some years later for like a huge amount of money.
Yeah,
so
that's a pretty common thing with any celebrity is they'll buy a house and you don't know that they own it. It's under like a pseudonym, but when they sell it, they'll always attach their name to it because the value goes way up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, those are my celebrity net worths. I thought they'd be harder to guess.
No, Pauly Shore, just because I knew that with his mom, I'm like,
Well, I factored in that, but also
way
like he had multiple hit movies, so like if he wasn't completely wasting his money, which he probably wasn't, because he already had some level of wealth growing up, that he probably wasn't squandering it away.
Money, though?
I don't think she had as much money to start.
He had some movies.
And he has, because Pauly Shore has family, like generational wealth.
But like Robin Givens was a series regular when she was in her early 20s. So that show wasn't paying her that much money. And it's not like it runs perpetually in syndication where she's making a ton of residuals. And it's not like she's still making movies at any kind of great, huge volume.
Yeah. Yeah, she still works, but just not a lot.
It's just it's like passage of time, simply.
Yeah. She's still beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
But those are good, though.
Yeah.
Those are good.
How much do we... maybe you can look this one up, Critter. Maybe you did, since we're talking about this TV pilot that starred Morris Day from Morris Day and the Time. What's Morris Day's net worth?
Do you want to guess? There's a wide range of numbers
let's
coming
see.
up.
I will guess. He probably got some real estate, but like in Minneapolis, maybe not LA, so probably not as expensive.
Right.
He's written some big hits, but I don't think he produces for other people.
Prince was writing a lot of those songs.
Yeah, or Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis, who were in the time, who went on to great success. But Morris Day, I'm going to say Morris Day is worth about $1.8 million.
Oh, there's a wide range here. It looks like it's the average I'm coming across is like 3 to 4.
Okay.
There's one that says 10
million.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's one that says there's one that says 215 million. I think this might be a mistake. It says Morris Day, highest paid musician in the world. Wow.
Well, that.
Congratulations to Morris Day.
Yeah. Unless he was getting lumped in with Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis, and they were looking at what kind of money they've made, because they might be in that.
But they were like
realm.
Janet. They have Janet Jackson.
Yeah, they were
money.
Huge producers for a while there.
Yeah,
this is crazy. I don't know what I'm looking at. Maybe it's a different Morris Day.
No.
How many millionaire Morris Days are there?
The American musician actor has an estimated net worth of $250 million. He owes his fortune to smart stock investments, substantial property holdings, lucrative endorsement deals with CoverGirl Cosmetics. Is this him? He also owns several restaurants: the Fat Day Burger chain in Washington, a football team, the Minneapolis Angels. He launched his own brand of vodka. This is what says Morris Day. I don't know if this is true. His own brand of vodka. Geez, I could never start from Morris Day. And it's tackling the juniors market with a top-selling perfume with love from Morris and a fashion line called Morris Day Seduction.
Wait, ew. Morris Day as a perfume? Like a teenage girl is like, you know who I want to smell like? I
can't click on the site properly.
80s two-hit wonder Morris Day.
Oh, this is nuts. The AI wrote that. That can't be true.
Well, I don't think AI wrote the pilot for this TV show.
No.
No, maybe they should have.
So my first thought about this show could not be made today.
Oh, for many reasons, yeah. So
Yes,
the show, by the way, is called Heart and Soul. It was a TV pilot. It was not picked up to series, although I think it was a pilot in contention at NBC because they did air it once.
Yeah,
Okay.
There would be cancellations.
Okay, just to let you guys know, I did look up Morris Day perfume. There's no Morris Day perfume. So that whatever that article website I looked at had to be something.
Because would you spray it? It would go. Wah!
Yeah.
Let me see if he owns a football team too. There's no way. Owns a football team.
Well, why don't you look at the name of the perfume and the name of the team? Those real things.
I'm just looking. Oh, well, look! I look at Morris Day owns a football team, and that same stupid website came up. It's the same thing.
Jungle Love.
He does not own a football team.
I used to like that song, Jungle Love.
Yeah,
I love it. Okay, get focused.
So yes.
So fun
like the
fact,
oak tree.
this is actually kind of fascinating because this show was a pilot for NBC. It was actually the first pilot ever produced by Castle Rock Television. This didn't go to series, but do you know what the second pilot from Castle Rock TV was?
What?
The Seinfeld Chronicles.
Yeah, exactly.
The Seinfeld Chronicles.
That was the original name of Seinfeld. That was the pilot. Yeah.
So they were like, sorry, Boris.
Yeah.
One of these shows is going to hit. I watched the Seinfeld Chronicles aired in the summer one year.
Yep.
And
Summer of
watched
89.
it. I watched it with my mom. We sat and watched the Seinfeld Chronicles show without knowing. How could we have known? But I remember watching it.
That's fun.
And I don't think Elaine was on it. She wasn't.
That's
was
correct.
My favorite.
I believe Elaine was not in the pilot. Yes.
No.
Elaine
Anyway.
Elaine was my favorite.
So Heart and Soul.
So
That is the sitcom. This is also famous for being. This was a Quincy Jones production, I believe, and this was the show. Will Smith tells a story about how he was at a party and he auditioned, I guess, for Quincy Jones for somebody effort, but he auditioned for the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, and they gave him the script. So it must have been this show because he said he got a script to a failed Morris Day pilot.
Well,
oh, that makes sense. He could have been the male, like the actual lead of the show, the other guy. He could have been that, or he could have been like one of the wacky mailroom guys too.
It was just a script for him to read. I think that I don't think it was like for him to actually.
Well, at that point though, you have to remember,
show.
like Will Smith had the rap career, which was very big, but like a lot of people recognize, like this guy has a star quality to him. He's charming as hell. We need to get him on, like in front of people on screen. So they were trying to find something for him.
Because wasn't this during Parents Just Don't Understand?
Yeah, exactly.
Yes. But then he had an album after that. It didn't do as well.
So we see these guys. They're in the mailroom. Like I said, one of the guys starts talking, and I was like, ooh, this show could not be made today. Because the guy was white, but what do they call it now? He had a black accent.
He had an affectation
There
to
used to be.
how he was speaking.
Now, this guy, at the time, was a very popular comedian, and I actually
kind of
liked
familiar.
him.
Who was it?
His name was
wasn't
Barry
Barry Sobel.
Sobel. Yeah,
It was Barry Sobel?
Yeah, that was Barry Sobel.
Oh, jeez. Okay.
And he was like, at that time, that was like at the height of his career.
Well, what was weird about it for me is that first I was like, ooh, that's a weird affectation to do for a character. And then later in the episode, he had a different affectation. And I think they were just trying to let him do like broader, almost like sketch comedy kind of characters to give this show a little more laughter. But it wasn't really explained that that's what they were going to be doing with this guy. So it seemed like out of nowhere.
So his shtick at the time was doing that affectation, the black one. That was his stand-up. That was his whole stand-up career.
Oh,
was that?
That's offensive because the affectation he had later in it sounded like he was making fun of gay people.
And that was another one of his characters too. So he was like always on like Solid Gold and all of the shows.
Yeah.
I remember. And then he ended up writing for SNL after when he was older, because he kind of started, I think he helped Jimmy Fallon a little bit. Like when Jimmy
Fallon won an Emmy or something. Like he won an Emmy, I think.
But Jimmy Fallon was kind of like helping him out when Jimmy Fallon was starting out. Then Jimmy Fallon got on SNL, and I think he hooked him up with he hooked up Barry Sobel with SNL as a writer for a little while.
Okay.
So they're watching this girl group, and the girl group is very sexy, and the song was very 80s sounding.
Are we sure that was Barry Sobel? Because I don't.
No, it's totally Barry Sobel.
I did see Barry Sobel in the credits, but I didn't.
Yeah,
the name sounded familiar, but I didn't know who he was.
So then, as they're watching it, Morris Day walks in, doing Morris Day. The move.
No, this was Purple Rain was 1984. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
83 or 84.
I think it's 84.
84. So this is 4 years after that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, but he's still at this point still like popular as hell.
Yeah, because remember, Prince went for a couple of years there where he was so white hot that he kept like there'd be a new act that he was producing that would come out every couple of weeks.
Oh yeah. Vanity 6, Apollonia 7.
Mm-hmm.
You know Prince discovered Carmen Electra, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He wrote Manic Monday for the Bangles under a pseudonym.
Right. And I do like one of his last discoveries that he left us with was Lizzo.
Oh, I didn't know that was a discovery of his.
Yeah, Lizzo was like one of his last.
Oh.
Did you write a song for her?
I didn't know if he wrote a song for her, but she talks about it. She was like affiliated with him. Because Lizzo's from Lizzo's not from Minneapolis, but she lived in Minneapolis, and that's where she got her start, in Minneapolis.
I thought she was from Houston.
He wrote the Shaka Khan song. He wrote that. Shaka Khan.
Oh, I feel
Shaka
for you.
Khan. Shaka Khan, let me rock it, let me rock Shaka Khan. Let me rock it, let me feel for you.
Should I go light my Shaka candle?
Yes.
Shaka Khan?
Or my it's a Kana Sutra candle. Yes. I've talked about that. She gave me that.
Who?
Shaka Khan. Shaka Khan gave me a candle.
A Kama Sutra candle?
No, a Kana Sutra candle.
A Kana Sutra.
Yes. How it's labeled.
Shaka Khan.
She gave me that, and she gave me a box of chocolates.
Chocolate.
True story.
Well, you had to eat those.
They were good.
Chocolate.
This happened at a radio station?
Mm-hmm.
I actually had, I almost met Chaka Khan once. I was doing a show in Aspen, and I was touring with the Moth at the time. And so like Aspen, I don't know if you guys have been to Aspen, but the airport in Aspen is tiny. And so Chaka Khan was there doing a concert. And so I walk in, I'm leaving, and I'm going through like the TSA, and they're like, oh, and my dreads were long at the time, and they're like, oh, are you part of Chaka Khan's band? And I was like, no. And I'm thinking, well, that's kind of racist. And then Chaka Khan came walking in behind me. And I was like, oh, I guess I have to take that back.
I thought they were going to say they thought you were Chaka Khan. It's like, Jesus.
Yeah.
Oh, and then Chaka Khan was on my plane. Chaka Khan was on my flight out of Aspen.
Chaka Khan? It's awesome. Like Chaka Khan.
So then we're in the office, they're watching, and then of course, so I didn't get the secretary, because we had like a sassy secretary, but she was like an older conservative sassy secretary.
This is like, I understand what they were trying to do is they were trying to have somebody be like sort of counterpoint to their youthful energy, but it wasn't necessary. And she felt out of place. And these guys were, it's not like they were stuck with this woman. Like, it was their company. It was Curtis and Richard's record label. They could have hired anyone they want. And yet they hired this woman who is kind of mean to them. It didn't make sense.
And it was almost like a trope because she was like an older white lady.
Yeah.
So these, it's like, this is like a young, hip music record company. The majority of the people there are Black.
Yeah.
It is kind of diverse, but then they have like this older white lady as the secretary. And so it's like, just this trope. And she's like mean to them pretty much. And just like, you kids, what are you talking about?
Yeah. Like if they were going to have that kind of older white lady character on there, they needed to give her a role of some sort of authority over them.
And
maybe it's like building manager or something like that where they're constantly at odds with her, but like having her be an employee of theirs didn't make any sense.
And you know what I think would have worked better? Do you remember, did you both watch Who's the Boss? And like Mona was like the hip older lady?
Yeah.
I think that would have worked better to have like a hip older white lady who was like in on it and just as hip as these guys were.
Actually,
that would have
she
totally worked.
did have the one line of dialogue that I did think was a genuinely funny joke in the episode where he was it Curtis, which is Morris Day's character, at one point invites her into his office to see this new music video for one of their acts, who's like a very attractive woman who's going to be wearing a very skimpy outfit and basically, selling sex. And she said that she she didn't need to. She had an obscene phone call that covered that last night. Like, I like the idea of like she had an obscene phone call. And like she stuck with it long enough to actually be able to compare it to this music video.
That's funny.
That's good. So there you go. She delivered a laugh.
She did get a good zinger in.
So then, Richard. So Curtis is there, and then his co-president, like they were basically both presidents of the label, right?
I guess they never really made it clear.
So his co-president, Richard, comes in. Now, I thought that Richard was hot.
Yes, he was.
No, Richard is the actor is Clark Johnson.
Yes, because I Googled him.
He's beefed up over the years. And he
Still
looks,
handsome.
He looks good. He did some directing. He directed the SWAT movie in 2003 and The Sentinel.
I was looking at his IMDb, and he's like still working and has worked a lot. Yes, he's definitely beefed up. Still handsome, but yeah, he's had like a pretty decent career. But he says
Adventures in Babysitting.
He says he's done with the music industry. He's quitting. And he's going to become a music teacher. And I thought, oh my God, it's coming.
I was hoping when that happened, I thought that Morris Day was going to have to become this music teacher. And I thought oh, that's good. That's a decent premise for the show.
That would have been a very good premise.
That actually would have been a great premise. Yeah.
Yeah.
Morris Day's the teacher. He deals with the student.
Yeah, well, almost like he's this sort of a fish out of water thing. Like his friend, he's like, just come observe the class and like get to know these kids. And then Morris Day ends up like actually, feeling for these kids and wanting to actually help them with their lives and decides to become a teacher. Like, that's a show. Right.
Yeah, I think if they brought Morris Day a little more out of his element and get in his element.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So then Richard's like, I'm leaving, I'm quitting, I'm done. And then Curtis is like, no, you can't quit, Richard. We need you here. So then the singer, so they find out that they're getting one of their singers, Donnell, on the Tonight Show.
I felt so old when this scene happened, because
McMahon.
they didn't call it the Tonight Show. They just referred to it as getting her on Carson. They said Carson. I was like, oh, wow. That is so long ago.
Right.
You remember. And then he says, tell Ed McMahon to stop sending me all the mail.
Yeah. But I mean, just think about it. Like this episode of television aired before Jay Leno's 22 years, including his brief break where he left the Tonight Show and Conan took over. And then, and now Jimmy Fallon's been hosting it for like 7 or 8 years. Like that's how long ago this thing aired.
Right.
Yeah. And for you kids at home, Johnny Carson was better than Jay Leno and Jimmy Fallon.
Agreed.
Basically, Johnny Carson, like if you were a comic,
Way better.
Johnny Carson made your career, or he could make your career.
Yeah.
Let's put it this way. Johnny Carson was way better than Jay Leno and Jimmy Fallon. Johnny Carson was significantly better than Conan.
Yes.
It depends on what you're rating better on, though. Conan, pound for pound,
I would rank
does
Conan
a
high.
much funnier show. He does great comedy bits. Great, like it's sketch comedy more than is a talk show. Is not a really good interview in a short format like that. He's actually quite good on his podcast, though. He like getting to talk more in depth, but was never good at sort of the hosty part of hosting.
I was putting Carson high, like probably like the highest. Then I was putting Conan under him, and then Jay Leno and Jimmy Fallon.
Oh, in terms of Tonight Show hosts specifically.
Yes.
Okay, that's fair.
And so the singer, like her name was Donnell, like she's another one. A lot of the actors on the show, like she's another one, like she's still working and worked. She's worked a lot. Her name is Arnisha Walker.
Okay.
And she's still working.
Oh, okay.
Look at how show business works. Like you kind of get into something, you do some like pilot like this, and look at all the people from this pilot who like went on to other opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know,
So,
you never know. Look at these people. Like we're talking about Brian Robbins. Like who would have expected that?
So then we find out that they found a new singer, and the new singer has a conservative dad. Oh, because the next day Morris comes in and Curtis is like dressed. He's supposed to be conservative, but all he's doing is wearing a pair of glasses. That's different. And he says,
well, he's wearing a suit like you would find it.
Well,
like
no, wasn't that later in the
Goodwill.
episode, the suit?
Oh yeah, I think that is a little bit later.
Yeah.
oh, then what do you guys have that happen next?
Are we? Let's see. Let me see. Let me check.
Well, we're just introduced now to the concept of Jamie and her conservative dad, Harlan. So Jamie was played by
Chyna!
Tisha Campbell. And her dad was played by James Avery, Uncle Phil from Fresh Prince.
Uncle Phil, who it was like, at first, he was so young at the time, like I recognized the voice. And then I was like, oh my God, wait, is that Uncle Phil? He was very young.
I mean, this is only
That
like
wasn't
2 or
that far
3
before.
years before Fresh Prince debuted.
Well, he was a lot slimmer.
Okay.
Yeah.
He was a lot slimmer
Uncle
back
Phil?
then.
No.
And Tisha Campbell was very young.
Yeah.
Very young.
Although
She was supposed-
she had already done Little Shop of Horrors by this point. That was a few years before this.
yeah, she looked young. Like, she looked young, though. I'm sure she was, like 20, 21, but she looked like a teenager.
Oh, for this? No, I bet you she was. If she was in Little Shop of Horrors, the movie in 1985, so she's probably like 25 here.
Oh, she
was
looked young, though.
It was 86.
Or maybe because then she was supposed to be this conservative girl, like maybe like she wasn't wearing a lot of makeup.
Oh yeah, I mean
but
they
was-
were trying to young her down for the role.
So is this the part? So they've come in now, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think when they come in, he is wearing that suit.
because he was telling Richard, you know, he's telling Richard, you can't quit, and like I've got to be conservative. Because didn't the mean secretary come in and say, "Oh my gosh, you look almost acceptable" or something like that?
Yeah. Why is he playing Old Man River? He's playing a record of Old Man River.
Because he's supposed to be conservative.
He was trying to show that he's not all about this, like, you know, this young kid's rock and roll, essentially.
Yeah.
So he's playing Old Man River. Okay.
Yeah.
I questioned that too.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't even get that
curious.
from a humor standpoint in the episode. I don't get that.
I was just curious what the origin is. Old Man River's okay, so it's a show tune from 1927
From Showboat.
musical Showboat. All right.
Yeah, I don't think that you could do that today. I think that would get some blowback.
They shouldn't
But
have done
what's going on
it
in
then.
Showboat also has the song Cotton Blossom. Oh no. Maybe this shouldn't be revived.
Yeah, I don't think that would go over so well today.
All right. Let's stop talking about Showboat. I think we've seen enough of that.
It's like, so then
How encouraging that was still something being discussed in the 80s, though, as a joke. But
so then, like, you know,
so yes,
they're saying, you know, Curtis is so conservative and we're so conservative and we're so, you know, and then, oh, Jason, are you still there?
I'm still here. I don't know why my camera went out. I'm here.
Oh. And then Richard
they
comes
should
in
have been.
and then Richard is definitely like, you know, your straight-laced person. So he's pretty straight-laced. Yeah. But then, and it looks like they look like they're winning the dad over. But then Donnell comes in an outfit,
slutty outfit.
Yes.
And Uncle Phil sports a Woody.
And it looked like something that Prince would pick out for a lady. Actually, there were chains. It was like kind of like a bustier. This was back when I think bustiers were becoming popular.
Hey, I wonder if Prince watched this show.
I wonder if he's a producer on it.
He's a producer on it?
No, I said I wonder if he was. He could have been.
Because Prince was big about using like secret names sometimes.
Yeah.
He was very controlling over Morris Day, so.
Yeah.
Oh, was he really?
Well, he wrote all the songs and all that. For when he's in the group. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Like
Morris Day
Jungle
and the
Love.
Time. Yeah, he wrote those songs.
America, have you heard?
I think he did. I love that. I used to have that. I think I probably still have it somewhere. Like a set. Yeah, it's the time ice cream castles. Ice cream castles in the summertime.
I do like in this show, you know, like most sitcoms, no matter when in time they were done, there's usually like a wacky next door neighbor that barges in with some wacky thing. And I like this show's version of that is this woman that's supposed to be a giant pop star. She just keeps barging in with her nonsense.
Yeah, that's good.
So they're talking to the dad, and then like, you know, and the dad likes Richard actually.
Yeah.
And Richard is like the straight-laced person in this friendship anyway. And Richard's like a good, you know, hot man.
Well, I don't know if that's why Uncle Phil was into it, but he certainly. I think because Curtis, Morris Day's character, was so over the top and was such a shyster, like at every step of the way, it was so obvious. He just wanted somebody that wasn't a crazy person.
Now Jamie was into Richard.
Yeah, duh.
Yeah.
You know, but then Richard is like, all of a sudden he's like, I can't do this. I can't do this, Jamie. You're on your own. I can't do this anymore. I can't be in this career field anymore. And basically screws Jamie over. Because the dad was like, I like the dad, because the dad didn't want her to have a music career, but then the dad was like, Richard, I trust Richard, so if Richard's involved with this, I know that Richard's gonna look out for you. So then you can do it.
I don't see this. I don't see this as screwing Jamie over, though. The existence of Jamie and her music did not predate Richard already telling Curtis, hey, I'm going to go to teach. I don't want to be at the label anymore. So it should not be his burden to have to worry about this woman who he didn't sign.
And then I got to tell you, during this whole scene, I kept on thinking, remember, did you guys used to watch Martin?
Every now and then.
And I kept on thinking the song that she sang on Martin, you got to push. It was a good song.
Okay.
So then we go to, I guess, so now are Richard, I was trying to figure this out. So are Richard and Curtis roommates as well?
Couldn't figure that out either. I was
wondering too. Yeah.
Couldn't figure that out as well. They probably left it open-ended if the show got picked up as to whether or not they needed that relationship or not.
Because then they're at home.
Yeah.
They're at home. Or
it's at the very least Richard's home, but it might be both their home.
Because Richard's at home and Curtis comes over, but Curtis just walks in the house.
Yeah.
He doesn't ring the doorbell or anything.
But that could also be like young, cocky guy, it's my friend's place thing.
And
sitcom rules.
Sitcom-wise, I think that in a lot of sitcoms, older sitcoms, people would just walk in each other's houses.
Yeah. That's typical thing. Actually, one of the things I loved about Seinfeld is that Jerry would have to buzz people up, and he would do that thing where he'd buzz them up, and then he would like open his door and leave it ajar so they could come up and it wasn't locked. Like that's a thing that you actually do if you live in an apartment versus like Friends. They're just going in and out of each other's apartments. Nobody cares.
Right.
Yeah, that's rude.
Oh, and then Richard tells Curtis, hey, I told Jamie to come over. And then Jamie comes over and Jamie's pissed. Jamie yells at Richard and she's basically like, look, you asshole, you blew this for me.
She calls him scum.
Yes.
You're scum.
And then they start talking and it turns into a voice lesson.
Well, we learn that Richard's background is he was a singer. He once had to open for Merle Haggard.
Right.
Now, do we know that Merle Haggard's audience are that aggressive or?
Well, but think of it this way. So Merle Haggard is a white country and western singer.
Much older.
Right.
And Richard, I'm sure, was not a country and western singer. So I'm sure that Richard was like probably like an R&B. Like his voice was very deep. So I could see him being like a smooth, kind of like an Al Jarreau or like a
Luther Vandross.
We didn't even know he was a performer until this
Hugo Bryson.
So I'm sure that Richard's sound and what Richard sang was different than a Merle Haggard audience wanted.
No different than if you're a stand-up comedian that has to open for a musician.
Oh, that's the worst.
Yeah. It's just like incompatible forms of entertainment for the night.
Well, here's a story. Because did you guys ever hear the story of how before Prince was famous, Prince opened for like the Rolling Stones, and so there was one night he was opening for the Rolling Stones, and they were all booing him, and like the whole thing about Prince is no matter how much they booed him, he wouldn't leave the stage. And then they booed him. He finished his set, and then like Mick Jagger came and yelled at the audience and was like, "This guy is gonna be famous someday, and you don't even know the half of it." So it's kind of like that. And Mick Jagger ended up being right.
There was a rumor that on the album "Around the World in a Day" that there's a recording of the booing that's happening, but it's actually during the song "Pop Life," but it's not. We have to debunk that rumor.
But I do love the fact though that like Mick Jagger like knew, like he just knew. He's like, this guy's gonna, this guy's going
yeah.
far. Oh, so then Richard, so didn't Jamie say something like her voice when she sings, like her voice closes up when she sings certain notes live?
Yeah.
You could only hit her voice could only go up so high, I think it was.
Yeah.
And then Richard like touched her face and gave her a voice lesson, and I wrote, Richard's hotness helped her sing.
He's like Jesus. He cured her of her.
Yes.
Lack of hitting a high note.
Yeah. And then, so after the Merle Haggard story, after she yells at him, she's like, if someone throws a boot at me, I'm going to throw it back before she storms out.
Yeah, because somebody threw a boot at him during the Merle Haggard concert.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she's like, I want this. If someone throws a boot at me, I'm going to throw it back.
Hey, that works. That's very 2023 because now people are getting hit.
Yes, they are.
Oh my God, yes.
Yeah.
That's a thing.
Yeah.
This show is ahead of its time.
Who was it
At
that
least in
threw the
sense.
microphone back? Was it Cardi B or
it's
Nicki
Cardi
Minaj?
B.
Yeah, Cardi B threw the microphone
Hit
and
her.
almost got charged for it, but it's like, no, she's in the right. They were throwing things at her, hard things.
Right. And I gotta say that the fact that Cardi B threw the microphone back and beamed her in the head, that was like good aim, Cardi B.
Something happened, and maybe it was maybe people got a little out of control. People stopped learning how to behave themselves during the COVID. But I remember hearing that when they reopened the Orlando Fringe, people saying the audiences were like kind of crazy.
What do you mean?
I forget what they were.
Oh, this
doing.
past summer?
No, I think it was the year before. It was like when they reopened it, and they're like these audiences they're just not behaving.
Like they would yell at stuff during shows?
They were doing something. I wasn't there. I heard this.
I do think it's weird though in these concerts how people are like, because didn't someone throw a phone at someone?
Threw a phone,
someone...
because it's not like throwing your underwear like people used to do. Or it's like there was one where somebody got, I think the Cardi B one was actually a drink. Like that could be like if you get excited, you move your hands and the drink goes flying. I get that. But when you're physically trying to hit the artist that you have gone to see, that you've paid to see, I can't wrap my head around it.
Yeah.
It's like an assassin.
Because it's one thing, like at Drake concerts lately, they've been throwing bras. Hey, that's fine.
Yeah. That's quaint.
Yeah, that's good.
But yeah, people throwing phone. Why would you throw your own phone?
Right. Like the cowboy boot makes sense because it's like, okay, I don't like this. I'm going to kick you to the curb. And this is symbolic, a kick. But the phone is like, that's $1,000 item that you're just whizzing across the room because what, you don't like their choice of song selection?
Right. Oh, so then we go back to the office and Barry Sobel, what was his name? I forget his name.
I don't know.
But he was talking to Uncle Phil. He was talking to, I'm calling them Uncle Phil and Jamie and her dad.
Yeah.
Or Uncle Phil and Gina.
Mr. Sinclair.
And he was like using his other affectations.
He was talking with a lisp and he was dressed as a reverend.
Yeah. So
now, I enjoyed Dr. Phil, not Dr. Phil, Uncle Phil.
Dr. Phil.
Uncle Phil. I liked Uncle Phil's just reaction to what was going on. He just had this he's like a stoic look.
I think that was more James Avery, the actor, probably being the oldest one on set, just thinking, this thing isn't going to go to pilot, or it's not going to go to series. It's fine. They're paying me. I'll cash the check. All will be good.
And maybe in a few years, I'll be on one of the biggest shows in the country, and I'll never have to work a day again in my life.
Nice.
I'll have two Aunt Vivs, but whatever.
That's right. You will have to sneak in a production of Love Letters with one of those Aunt Vivs.
Don't they all do love letters?
Yeah.
Don't
You don't
all
have to
like
memorize a script.
all actors that at one point played a couple or should have played a couple will at some point in their late careers do a live production of Love Letters.
So wait a minute.
law.
I've never seen Love Letters. Are they reading off of a script on Love Letters?
Yeah.
No idea.
It's not even like there's no blocking or anything. It's like two people standing on stage reading.
You know how I feel about that, Kurt Fitzpatrick.
Sounds like a cash grab to me.
I was just at the Minnesota Fringe and someone was like talking like, oh, my show is the shit, da 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 da. And they walked up on stage with a music stand and started reading. And I'm like,
You don't like that. I did do a show. I have one show that I did like that. I have to admit.
But you know how I feel.
Part of the studio. You don't like it. It's fine.
I have no problem with it
Anyway.
if it's presented as it's going to be a staged reading of some sort. I'm okay with that.
Well,
My show's kind of presented like it's sort of its reading, and then I would go away from it, and it'd be different things. So it was kind
but
of.
that's fine. That's
It was a
actually
specific choice. I didn't do it because I didn't know the script. It was a specific choice to present it like that.
and Kurt, that's actually fine. It makes me mad when people tout their shows like my show is gonna be the shit, and then they come out and they read, but then that show gets compared to someone who actually like learned their show, and maybe it's not a good show, but they learned it.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like, anyway, that's my therapy. I should take that up with my therapist.
Money well spent.
So then why do they start fighting? Who's fighting? Because they're all fighting, right?
Well, somebody said they did a show with a script. Oh no. No.
Well, because the Curtis walks in, you've got Barry Sobel talking with his offensive lisp. Richard shows up. He says he's not going to work with Jamie. Mr. Sinclair is going to pull Jamie, and then he gives her shit, saying that because Mr. Sinclair declares that Jamie's not going to sign with them. She's going to go to medical school, and then Richard shades her and says, asks her if she was hit by a cowboy boot. And so then they all start bickering, and then Jamie just starts singing to soothe the wild beasts.
Right. Like,
I
I'm
just think Richard-
telling you, I'm not going.
You make me feel like a natural woman. She's
And
singing
everybody
that.
shuts up.
Why is Richard so invested in this? I thought he wanted to go work somewhere else.
What was wild about his reaction was it was played, it seemingly directed as if it was his first time ever hearing his daughter sing.
Yeah.
Which didn't make sense.
Well, that's Uncle Phil.
Which made no sense because he was like a stage dad.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Yeah. Is this how the music industry worked back then?
Yes, sure. Sure.
Yeah.
Well, okay, didn't this remind you? Did you all remember that TV show Throb?
Yes.
No. Oh, yeah. That doesn't sound like something I would watch.
Well, no,
Jane Leaves was on
you
it
guys may have
pre-Cheers.
Because remember that, and Jason was talking about it, that type of show, they were like these syndicated shows. Throb was one of them.
It was set at a record label called Throb Records.
Yes. With Diana Canova.
Kenobi.
And Jane Leaves.
Jane
and
Leaves
she played Blue.
and Jonathan
Jane-
Prince. Oh god, he's gone on to something else. What is
And he's didn't he produce game shows or something? He's like some kind of producer.
I'm looking it up now because he
Like
went on to
some
produce something really, really big that wasn't. Gosh.
I'm looking it up. Who's Jane Leaves?
Jane Leaves Daphne.
She's Daphne on
Frasier.
Frasier.
I didn't really watch Frasier.
Yeah, but she played Blue, and the whole thing is Blue would always tell a story and like this famous guy did blah 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 blah, and then they'd go, "Who was it? Who was it?" And she'd say, "Doesn't matter." That was like her shtick. Actually,
There's a
liked
line.
Throb.
This says Paul Walker was on the show.
He might have been.
Probably like as a kid.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Did he play Diana Canova's kid?
Yeah, Jonathan Prince went on to produce, like, do you remember that show American Dreams? It was on NBC for a few years. He created that show.
Yes, with Eric the actor. He was on that show.
Oh, from Howard Stern.
Yeah.
But
that's the only reason I know that show.
But yeah, the show reminded me of Throb.
Well, yeah, it is the sitcom version of what they think the music industry really is, and it's very much not like that.
Right.
I like the end when they had the closing credits saying what was coming up next, and one of them was the Ted Bundy movie.
Yeah.
Come on, kids, gather around the TV.
Wasn't that with what's his name? The old man.
Redd Foxx.
Redd Foxx played Ted Bundy.
Redd Foxx is Ted Bundy.
Could you imagine? I would watch that.
Murder.
I would watch that. Ted or Brian Dennehy or someone like that.
Brian Dennehy played Ted Bundy. He's too old too for that. Let me look.
Didn't he? Wasn't it him or someone like that?
I don't know.
Bundy.
Or was it?
Just
Or
like a
wait,
Ted
or
Bundy
was it the guy from NCIS?
Mark Harmon?
No, I think it was the guy from NCIS. Mark Harmon.
Oh, I think you're right.
Oh, it might have been
Mark
because
Harmon.
this is like just after St. Elsewhere. Yeah.
Yeah, so Mark Harmon.
Yeah.
Mark Harmon played Ted Bundy. Like this was.
Yes, you're right. You're right.
This was
The
his
night- well, no,
burning
wait.
bed.
Yo, 1986. So they must have been a rerun of it.
Because you know how they have like, Halle Berry had her Monsters Ball where she was less attractive. Farrah Fawcett had The Burning Bed. This was like Mark Harmon's Burning Bed.
Yeah.
Oh, I think he probably played it as a sexy Bundy.
Well, yeah, like, did he do the movie before or after he was named People's Sexiest Man Alive? Wasn't he the first one?
It was 1986. It says The Deliberate Stranger.
Was he the first one?
I believe Mark Harmon was the first person ever on People's Sexiest Man Alive. I believe so.
He was the first sexy person. Before that, sexy people
I've
didn't
never
exist.
found him attractive. I've never understood.
I saw
his appeal.
Pandora. I went to Fig and Olive a couple of years ago and saw Pandora there having lunch.
Yeah.
Is Fig and Olive still there in West Hollywood?
No, it closed. Let's see.
Okay. Well, that was a sitcom. Morris Day did go on to have sitcom success, where he
With
played
what?
he did a yes, he had. Well, this only aired as a pilot.
Yes.
Right.
It was only one show they did, and I guess they did air it because it's available on YouTube. But then he did another show like a couple years later that actually ran for like 4 episodes.
4? Oh, so he had a success.
I think it was like a UPN show, maybe.
No, it was not. Look it up.
Oh,
That's funny.
Mark
4
Harmon
episodes, was a success.
Mark
New
Harmon was
attitude.
the second sexiest man alive. First one was Mel Gibson.
Ew, that didn't age well.
Oh no, but back then it made sense.
Wait, Morris Day's his successful sitcom was New Attitude. It was
But it
on
ran for only 4
ABC.
episodes.
I think it ran for about. It was 6 episodes, but it was part of ABC's TGIF lineup.
Oh, okay.
Oh, so was it after Urkel?
I don't know. I don't have all that information, but Lorenz Tate had a role in it. Shirley Ralph was on it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's like they're good actors. Both of them.
I do remember that.
Tate and Shirley.
I never saw it. Never watched it, but
I watched
do remember
Urkel.
the show.
I watched Step by Step with Suzanne Summers and Patrick Duffy.
Mm-hmm.
And
Stacey Keenan from My Two Dads.
right. I think they should remake My Two Dads.
I was thinking about that the other day. It's such a ridiculous premise, but I could see it somehow working.
Well, because it was, at the time, it was 2, and I'm putting in quotes, 2 straight guys that they could just remake it and set it in West Hollywood and just have it like 2 gay guys.
That's a different show, though. The whole hook of that show was essentially the mom didn't know which of them had fathered her daughter. Mom dies, and the 2 guys are like, "Oh, let's just live together and raise her." It makes no sense.
But listen, we could so it could be we could contemporize it. So the mom wanted to have a baby, and she had 2 sperm donors.
Okay.
But she died, and they fall in love with the girl, so they don't want to take an Ancestry.com test. So they all live together as a family. There you go.
Still ridiculous. I still love it. Does she get to have 2 cute boyfriends that go on that are Giovanni Ribisi and Chad Allen? Because then I'm on board.
Sure.
And wasn't it Paul Reiser and the guy from BJ and the Bear?
Greg Evigan, yes.
Greg Evigan.
And you had Florence Stanley on there, and I believe Dick Butkus.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Who's Florence Stanley?
She, before this show, she played Fish's wife on Fish.
Wasn't she like a lady with a voice like this?
Yes.
I know. Her too? Because Selma Diamond was in that camp as
this
well.
is like Selma Diamond before Selma Diamond was Selma Diamond.
Selma Diamond.
Selma Diamond went to the I can get a role on TV if I chain smoke school of acting.
Who else? Rosie, the quicker picker upper.
This is the casting pool.
Yeah.
But anybody listening to this show was born after 1980.
I know, right? Like who?
Hell, even after 1990, we are.
Look at all these stuff you missed out on.
Before Flo, there was Rosie.
Well, Flo was a spinoff of Alice too.
No, not that Flo. Flo from Progressive.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Jeez, I'm sorry. I was confusing flows.
Yeah, before Flo from Progressive, not Florence Jean Castleberry from Alice. Flo, there was
God,
Rosie.
I never knew her name.
Had a bunch of commercials, and she had napkins or
Bounty. It was
paper
Bounty.
towels.
It's Nancy
And that was her
Walker.
thing.
But Nancy Walker was already
Nancy
Nancy Walker played Rhoda's mom, and at the same time she was playing Rhoda's mom, she was also a series regular on her own show, The Nancy Walker Show.
And then what didn't she also direct Can't Stop the Music with the Village People?
This is true. She did, yes.
She did, yeah. I think it's the only movie she did direct.
Yeah.
She's
Yes,
like
the Bounty
Charles
spokesperson.
Laughton.
Imagine if Flo from the Geico commercials directed a movie and 30 years from now it became a cult classic. Imagine.
Right.
Nancy Walker is like Charles Laughton, who only directed The Night of the Hunter. But Nancy Walker directed Can't Stop. What was it called? Can't Stop the Music.
Can't Stop the Music.
With the Village People and
Valerie
Steve
Perrine,
Gutenberg.
Bruce Jenner.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
The former Bruce Jenner, now Caitlyn.
Mm-hmm.
But Bruce was Bruce at the time.
Back then, yep.
Who knew? Isn't that like if you were to go back and tell me that one day Bruce Jenner's going to come out as trans and
Well, if you notice, everything you look at from years ago now looks weird. There's something strange going on. Just imagine when people look at stuff that's happening right now. What does the future hold?
Right.
Today, Rhea Perlman is in a movie that just made over $1 billion.
Yes.
Who would have expected that?
Yes.
Right.
And not just Rhea Perlman in the movie, but she's playing a very, very nice, gentle lady. Very opposite of what she's known for.
Carla is going to play a sweet lady.
Yeah.
You just never know where things are going, where things are headed.
And Diane is going to, we won't even know what happened to her.
No.
Right? Is that funny? Is that crazy? Anyway.
Well, it's a lot to take in.
If you want to get a hold of me and discuss this craziness, you can find me at my website, leskirkendallbarrett.com, which I guess I better update with the show information. Or you can find me on Instagram at Kirkendall. Jason.
Please rate and review our podcast wherever you listen to us. Give us 5 stars, helps other people find us. And you can follow all of us on Instagram, Facebook, and Threads at Lifetime of Hallmark Podcast. And you can follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and Threads at Big Shot Jason. Kurt.
Oh, I just updated my website, kurtfitzpatrick.com. It's Kurt with a K. You can find out about my information about my show, The Jester of All Maladies, playing at the Indianapolis Fringe Festival, first weekend of September, it's first, second, third, around there. And then I'm going to be the end closer to the end of September, I'll be doing the Philadelphia Fringe Festival with my show Behind Every Great Mariska Hargitay is a Great Kurt Fitzpatrick.
And if you live in the Los Angeles area, you can see my show, The Real Black Swan, Confessions of America's First Black Drag Queen, at the Lily Tomlin Jane Wagner Theater at the Gay and Lesbian Center. And for more information, you can go to www.celebrationtheater.org. And it runs from August 31st to September 24th. So get your tickets, and if you do get tickets, make sure you stay and say hello. Because I'm actually nice. Sometimes. No, I'm nice.
Well, they have to wait outside. Will you be greeting them at the stage door outside?
Sure. Okay. And yeah, that's it. We've got to figure out something obscure to watch for next week. I'm actually really enjoying the stuff that we're watching so far.
Me too.
I'm starting to do look for stuff. So who knows what we're going to watch next week? But
no, but we have some ideas.
Yeah,
we have ideas, and I'm starving, so I gotta go. Bye.
Okay, bye.
Bye.